Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Pageant Sit Down. My name is Regina Lena, and we are so excited to have you on with us today. I just wanted to make sure we were on live. Hello, everyone. It's been a couple of weeks, 2 weeks to be exact, since we've seen you all, and we are super excited to have all of you here. I keep saying we. I'm going to bring on my co-host, Elizabeth. Hi, Liz.
Hi, Regine. How are you?
Good. I feel like I haven't seen you in a couple weeks.
Well, 2 to be exact. It's the last time we saw each other, but life's been busy though. But I'm excited to be on tonight.
I'm excited, and I know that you made an announcement on your social media that we could talk a little bit about later, but I am so excited to have our guest on the show today. How about you?
I'm very excited. Should we introduce her?
Yes, be my guest.
Alrighty, so everyone please welcome, we have an amazing former St. Vincent and Grenadine Beauty Queen, Nicole Hadaway. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you, I'm really happy to be here. Very happy.
Well,
amazing.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for joining us. It is not every day that we get a pageant veteran on our show, and we are super stoked to have you. So you and I met briefly this weekend, but I'm sure a lot of our viewers want to know more about you. So, Nicole, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm first and foremost a mom right now. Mom of 2. I have a son and a daughter, and they're both in school. My son's doing animation, and my daughter's doing studying law. So that's my main, who am I? I am Vincentian Canadian. I've lived in this country now going on probably 22 years, but I come from, you see in the back of me, this is the Kingstown Harbor, and I come from a little chain of islands called St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Now it's an amazing tourism destination, and it's 32 little islands, and we're so proud of it. It's always sunny, not like what we're having outside now. It was my home before I came here. I got married and moved to Canada. Before I came here, I spent most of my career in broadcasting. I did radio broadcasting. And of course, the reason I'm on your show, I was 1987 Miss St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Wow. And it's a big thing. Beauty shows is a big thing in the Caribbean. Most of the contestants who enter beauty shows, they talk about it being life-changing, and so it was for me. So it's part of a carnival celebration where you have not just a beauty show, it's one of the components of the carnival celebration. So equal to the mass creation and what we call panorama, that's the beating of the drums, and calypso and soca. It's all a huge 10-day festival, similar to what's in Brazil. And it's a huge 10 days of activities, and it culminates in trying to get the cream of the crop in everything. The best artists, that's the calypso and soca, the best mass builders, and the best masqueraders, the people who play dance in the streets. And so ever since I was a little girl, you would look on the carnival every year and you'd see the magnificent costumes. We had really talented costume builders back home. So it's a big spectacle. And then you look forward to going to see, all these beautiful girls lined up, and pageants there is a big thing. It's government organized. So
Oh, wow.
I was actually a member of the Carnival Development Committee for a few years, and I was involved in actually assisting in the running of the pageants before I migrated here. And that is, of course, after my many years of participation. And after I participated, I opened my own model agency, and it was called Nicole's Beauty Academy. And my girls that I recruited and I trained, they all won. And I'm proud to say that. So there is a formula with beauty pageants. The more you spend, the more time you spend, involved, you get to learn, what works and what doesn't. But at the end of the day, I've heard the pros and cons of beauty shows, but I remain on the side for beauty pageants because I've seen what I've benefited from personally, and so many people that I've helped, they still, reach out to me and say, "You changed my life. You changed my life." So in the Caribbean, you become like a mini ambassador for your country when you become the winner of the Miss St.Vincent and the Grenadines competition. And a month later, you're catapulted into the Caribbean competition, where you're now, when you win, you're competing against the winners from the other Caribbean islands. And that happened to me back in the day. So a month later, I had to take a costume. So I had to go with the mass builder and take a costume to Antigua. It's one of the neighboring islands. They had to it was huge. So I think they took it there by boat. But I played as a masquerader in a band, but I've never carried such a huge costume before. They're veteran masqueraders, but I was not one of them. And I had to learn overnight how to take, to work this costume across the stage in another country a month after. And that was quite a lot. Anyway, after winning that Caribbean show, I also participated in another international competition, which was held in St. Martin, and that was held in 1992. And again, I came out on top. So I've had quite a lot of experience, and I entered the Miss World Pageant. That was 1997 of the same year. So I did not win. You don't always win them all, but the experience fascinating. We went to Malta, where the Miss World was filmed, and where we learned to do the introductory presentation, quite a lot of choreography we had to learn. And you get to meet, I think it was about 71 participants from all over the world. Wow. So yeah, I was quite involved, and I consider myself quite a veteran trainer as well. After having gotten all of that experience, I put it to use and began training other beauty contestants. I remember just before I migrated, the show in Antigua, the Caribbean Queen Show, it's called the Antigua JC's Caribbean Queen Show. To date, myself and one other contestant, which was the one I trained 10 years after I won, and she won it as well. Nice. So no one from my country other than herself and my Georgianne is her name. She won the competition, and She and I are the only two Vincentians who ever won that.
That's
So
amazing.
Wow.
I'm very proud. It's not that easy to win. It's very difficult, because the categories are very competitive.
Mm-hmm.
You get strong competition from some of the bigger Caribbean islands. They even have people also from the wider area like Venezuela, and so it was quite the experience. Yes.
That's amazing. And then something that you didn't mention, but it's okay. Something that you didn't mention but had mentioned to me is that your mom was also in Miss World as well. Can you tell us a little bit about growing up with a beauty queen mom and seeing what she had gone through? Did that inspire you?
My mom was phenomenal. And I'm from a family of 7. I've got one sister and all the others are brothers. But my mom was the center of the family. Like she was an amazing cook. And she just was the life of the family. We lost her a couple of years ago, and we still reach out. We're all over the world now, and we reach out to each other on social media. We have a group, and we can stay connected as she raised us. But my mom came from a tiny little village, not the town, not the very exposed type of person. She was a school teacher. That's the job she did in a tiny little village called Georgetown. And my mom, when she spoke about her experience in the Miss St. Vincent and the Grenadines Carnival Queen competition, and this was in 1959.
Whoa.
She didn't know anybody. She lived in the rural area where, there was not a school you can go to learn about how to be in a pageant and what to do.
Mm-hmm.
All of it was totally foreign to her. But she told me one thing. She said, Nicole, I don't think beauty is just skin deep. It resonates from, it's a light that shines from inside of you. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter whether you know everything or you don't. Once you have that confidence and that sense of contentment, and you love yourself, you must have a love for yourself. It can take you anywhere. Mm-hmm. And so she said that despite not being very exposed and not knowing anything at all, she was discovered by one of the politicians that would visit the area and saw her in the village and said, "You're gonna represent. I'm gonna let them know I've found someone. I've discovered somebody, and you're gonna be a." She agreed. So
it's amazing.
Absolutely, just something that she decided, not from prior experience or even from dreaming to be that. She wasn't aspiring to it, but she was asked. And she said yes. That's all it took. But the dress came, the swimwear came. She just decided, I'm going to let my light shine. Let that feeling of, I'm a child of the universe, so I have a right to be here. And that kind of beauty that radiated and it emanated from inside. That's what she spoke about to me a lot.
That's amazing.
I didn't get the skin deep type of conversation from her that, you have to be this and you have to be that. It was just, you can do it. Believe in yourself. have that quiet confidence, and, go for it. Don't limit yourself. So that was the kind of environment that I grew up with my mom. And I thank her, because I too initially was not that interested in beauty pageant, because there's another side of it that, most people don't want to go on a stage. It could be nerve-wracking, competing. So it's going to be winners, which mean they're also going to be losers. Are you prepared to handle that? And so initially, I never thought that I would be following in her footsteps. And then I was approached by a member of the Carnival Development Committee after I was working in my first job, which was as a broadcaster with 705 Radio. And I remember initially I said, no, I don't think so. Sorry. And then I got home. And before I even shared that someone had, approached me and expected me to enter, and my mom was like, we got a call. And they told me you're not interested. And I don't understand why. So, I had to, I found myself like, I don't think I want to do it, Mom. And she said, no, you're limiting yourself, and I don't understand why you're doing that. And we debated a bit, and I agreed. I took her advice. She felt I was not grabbing opportunities as they came. So to appease her, I decided to throw my weight in the show. But yes, it was amazing. I have no regrets. It's been a whirlwind experience. I got to travel. I won very attractive prizes. I won a prize trip for 2 to Germany, where I took my mom, my chaperone. I was able to represent my country at a trade show in Stuttgart there as well.
Where'd you go?
Yeah, and I also got to attend a youth leadership group tour to Taiwan, representing students there. All of them, when your profile gets, heightened, people approach you and say, we're looking for young leaders to go and it's been a roller coaster, but I will always be grateful for the opportunity. And my daughter, who's living in Canada, says to me, Mom, maybe I want to do pageants. So I said,
oh my God, yes.
I said, really? But you're a singer. You're a singer. Which one are you going to do? I'm not deciding for her, but I think her hands are full with her singing and songwriting for now. I think so. But yeah,
she's still young. Yeah.
I'm very proud of my mom's legacy, and that I was able to follow in her footsteps. Yes, for sure.
I think it's so amazing. Like this is like so fascinating to me. I am really curious to know, when you are the queen of this small, like really beautiful island, what are your roles? Like because it's government like associated, what kind of things do you do as a queen during your year of being a title holder?
What did I do? Well, my job, being a radio broadcaster, I worked 5 years. I worked about 10 years on air.
Wow.
So I was always in the public eye, so to speak. And so I was already working as a broadcaster before I won the Miss St. Vincent Grenadines. But I think coming from the background of broadcasting and going into the beauty show, I think that definitely your profile is heightened. I think what we learned is that whatever we learn in the experiences we have, we should share them. So a lot of what I did after I won, beside making appearances here and making appearances there, we went to the Children's Hospital and we did all that type of stuff. And during the competition and promotional events, but I think it begs the question, and having participated in the Miss World competition, these shows must have a purpose. So it's always beauty with a purpose. So I think the purpose was really to be an mini ambassadorial figure for your country. And tourism was always important, bringing people so that we can earn foreign exchange and all, that to help our economy and things like that, and promoting our country. So I think that was really what was at stake. But having gone to many other beauty pageants, what I realized that people are becoming more aware of is that these shows should not be just about beauty skin deep. And that's really what was the most important thing for me to realize. So by helping others to become in the spotlight, to learn to get more confident, more aware, self-awareness, confidence, humility, all of these things are important attributes that can take you very far, no matter where you go. I think the people that come into the show because they want to have bragging rights that I'm more beautiful than the other contestant is not really going to enjoy life very much, because these bodies we have is just for a short time. So if we were to put all the emphasis on exterior beauty and not really developing the inner self to be the best that we can be, and I'm talking about holistically, many people just go around hanging their heads, just feeling not good about themselves. I think one of the best things that I was able to do when I was sharing what I've learned is to teach people to value themselves, to love yourself, and to take care of yourself. So I'm talking holistically, mind, body, soul. So of course you eat healthy, you exercise, pamper yourself now and then, and don't forget yummy sleep. I call it yummy sleep, because that's when we repair all the damaged cells and everything. So it's important. But beyond the body, the physical, the inner person is really the driving force to this shell that we wear. And I have seen, contestants who I have to teach them how to hold themselves up, how to walk, how to feel, lift their heads up. Some people walk always with their heads.
Yep.
It's when you hold yourself up, when you begin and someone begins to speak positivity and tell you you're beautiful, you matter, you're special. You see, a person go from this and they begin to do that. And then you see slowly they're coming into, I'm not talking about being arrogant, but exuding a quiet confidence that can take you through anything, through life, through your job challenges, through difficulties, because we are more than what you see. We're more than what you see. And we have to battle the negative talk that we've heard growing up. You're not good enough. And people go to surgery to get it. And that makes me very sad. Because I've seen in my many years of beauty pageants, absolutely close to perfect, aesthetically beautiful women, but then never won. And why is it? Because the exterior alone is not all that matters. Mm-hmm. And if the emphasis is always put on the exterior alone, then you're not developing the power inside, the purpose, the advocacy that can come from somebody who understands the problems in the world and can have a voice. So you need, so I think I'm so grateful. I remain grateful for all the exposure and all the experience that I've gotten over the years, participating and training contestants. And it warms my heart to see how I was able to change lives. On the other hand, though, things are not always, doesn't always end well for everyone. And I've seen, sad stories along the way. Usually, though, I find that the people who lack inner strength and who depend or who hunger only for validation from other people, they're lost inside. So when you don't have inner strength, you can be, you can find yourself in in a lot of troubling situations, because when you are brought into your profile become heightened, there's a lot of gaze from the male community. And also at times, girls who are not strong enough to resist, what can happen when you become exposed can, find themselves exploited. And I've also seen that, and it saddens me. So when I'm training someone, I'm constantly, trying to prepare them for what is coming, and to in advance for what it's going to be when you're declared the winner, and how to engage with being polite, but also embracing and loving the word no, because sometimes it's safe to say no. No, thank you.
Exactly.
So I think those are some of the things that I've learned along the way. So as we're now in a world where equity, inclusion, and diversity are issues that have made it on the table. I think people like myself who do not conform to European beauty standards also have found some difficulty entering beauty pageants, especially like the Miss World and the Miss Universe, because I remember being trained early in my day. I remember one trainer telling me, okay, stand straight. They put the book on your head and they said, stand against the wall. So I'm standing against the wall. And you need to tuck your butt in. It should not be sticking out like that. Tuck it in and try to get the middle of your back against the wall. So I was standing in a very uncomfortable position. And I thought to myself, why must I stand like this?
I know that feeling.
I'm talking 30 years ago, mind you. I don't think that those same beauty standards exist or dominating the world now, because people are augmenting certain parts of their bodies. But the day when I was being told I needed to tuck it in, I was also told maybe you need a nose job.
Oh,
I'm really happy that those negative talk that I received, not very overwhelming most of the time, I got all positive, but these are the things that make people feel they're not good enough. I'm happy that I had a mother like my mother.
Yeah.
Because I entered the pageant, I remember very well that I was worried because as a kid, I grew up with so many brothers doing, everything the boys did. So I liked skateboarding. And I remember one time I was, really good at it at about, 9 years old. And I was doing stunts and coming down at top speeds. And I remember one time I toppled and broke a finger. I was very embarrassed about this finger that I broke because it was a little bit crooked. So as I learned to do, you have to hold your hands a certain way, I'm always conscious, is this little broken finger showing? And the reason I'm telling you about this is that there is no perfect person. There's no person absolutely perfect. We see people in magazines. I've seen all the beauty queens up close. Some are near perfect, I admit I've seen them. However, what I'm trying to say is that every little flaw, there are certain pressures that we as women feel to be as good as those that we see in the media, in advertising, but it's always good to keep a solid balance, that we are not, the emphasis should not always be just one thing, but we should love ourselves and love all the aspects, mind, body, and soul, not just body alone, not just the nose, not just the broken finger, because it's the entire package. And I think if there's anything that I'm really proud of sharing that I've learned is that. And I've seen the girls who are so whacked out over the tiny littlest, the littlest imperfection. And they're like crying, or their hair fell down, or their dress has a tiny rip somewhere, and they're freaking out. I feel sad because we are more than what we wear. We are more than the makeup, the hair. We are much more. We are being. And learning how to find wholeness inside, self-acceptance. I think that is where true beauty lies. So that's really what I have to say. And what excites me about pageants, teaching people, how to love yourself, how to be confident, how to lift your head, how to enter a room and have heads turn because of the air of confidence and just the light that you exude when you feel good about yourself. So yeah, that's what I have to say.
Love it. I love all of that.
So I just want to jump in. I do want to jump in because there are a lot of people who are watching, and I know that they might be too shy to ask questions, but if you are tuned in and you have any questions for Nicole, feel free to put them in the live chats. And I'm going to read a few comments that have been popping through. I didn't want to interrupt. So Janice McGregor says, St. Vincent land so beautiful that gives rise to beautiful women like Nicole. She then says, you are the ultimate Caribbean queen. So much love from this Guyanese Canadian. Janice is amazing. Janice also says, you have so much wisdom. I appreciate you sharing it so freely. So she is giving you lots of love. She also did ask a question. Have you been to Carabana in Toronto?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Every year. I'm there every year. But I haven't gotten involved. I told Regina when she told me that she wanted to talk to me about beauty pageants. I said, Regina, I'm not sure that Canada likes beauty pageants. I'm not sure. I don't know if I want to talk about it. I didn't even bring my photographs from my life in St. Vincent. When I came to Canada, I got married and migrated here. I put it all behind me because I got the sense that the forward-thinking people felt that that women need to, since we're seeking equity and all of that, we have to do away with these things that are objectifying women. So I wasn't sure, if this is something I can have an open discussion about in this country. I know in our country, it's highly respected. It's done at a government level every year, and it's organized, and the queens who the winners every year speak only wonderful things about their the opportunity. But here, I think there is some level of feeling that we're not informed and we're not growing because we're still pandering to the, wanting the validation from, whomever is the audience to validate us that, oh, you're beautiful. And that's why we line up in a pageant, and it's so demeaning and degrading. So I don't know, ladies, what your feelings are on that. But
good point.
I'm proud of my involvement, and I don't feel that it has diminished me because I've held my head high throughout all my there are pitfalls for people who are not prepared for what happens when your profile and you're beautiful and it becomes heightened. There's an avalanche of people that are going to come after you, that are going to try to get your attention. And how you feel with this is very important.
Really quickly, again, going back to the chats. So Scott Gian Brown is in the chats. He says hello, and also says great advice. And then we have Lady Modem in the chat and says wonderful interview. I guess you know who that is.
I know, absolutely.
So,
yeah.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. I think it's a family member living back in St. Vincent. Good to know you.
Oh, that's
Well, there you go.
awesome.
Like I said, there are a lot of people who are tuned in. I can see the numbers. So if you have any questions or if you just want to give a shout out to Nicole, by all means, put them in the live chats and we will read them to her. I just looked at the time. We've had such an amazing conversation, and there is a segment on the show, but I feel like this whole conversation has just been you giving us amazing advice. But we do want to know, what are your top 5 pageant tips for everyone who's tuned in today?
Well, I think some of them I've already divulged, but to make it real here, I really am going to reiterate what I've said. We've been given perfect bodies at birth, and the human form is a beautiful form. I am Christian, so I do believe what the Bible says, and it says we are all beautifully and wonderfully made, each and every one of us. And I want to remind everyone that we didn't make ourselves. That's one thing. We didn't make ourselves. We're born with a body. And if my belief is that the Creator created us specially, individually, with a purpose. And I think that as we embrace equity, inclusion, and diversity, beauty is very wide. It's not any one thing. There's beauty in the trees at fall, and there's beauty in the flowers at springtime. They're different, they're all beautiful. So what I would like to say that is, in every race, there's beauty. And there's beauty inside of each and every one of us, because we're all here in this universe for a purpose. And I think I don't have 5, I just have this one. Striving to be your best self, whatever that is for you, for each of us individually. That is the most beautiful thing you can do. Mind, body, and soul.
And that was an amazing tip. And I know, like I said, you've been sharing so many great tips for everyone. So welcome to Nicole's TED Talk.
Yes, no, it's so good. I'm learning so much. It's so interesting from someone who's, currently in the pageant world in Canada. It's just so different. I really kind of want to dive into, I'm sure Regine's also curious, your training. I think that that's such an interesting part of your pageant journey. Can you share some stories about that, or why you chose to get into that?
Training?
Mm-hmm, yes.
So, after winning, the first thing, you have to find your balance. So after I found my balance in beauty pageants, because if you've never participated, you don't really know what your possibilities are. So having gotten involved, anything I do, because I do many things, pageant is just one of them. I'm a businesswoman. I had my own retail outlet. I did retail cosmetics and perfumes and gifts and all of that, swimwear. So I did retail at the same time that I was on air working as a radio broadcaster. I also did marketing. I would do commercials, radio and television commercials. I was the voice in the day for the tourism commercial, and so once I felt my balance and having won 3 competitions, I felt that I had, earned a lot, gained a lot of experience that I needed to share. And what I wanted to do is keep putting St. Vincent on the map, because we are tiny, tiny little islands. 120,000 people is the population, so it's ridiculously small. But when you step up on a stage with the sash, Miss St. Vincent, you're equal to the other girls from bigger Caribbean countries. And so that Vincy pride, was always inside of me. And my mom instilled that because, again, I told you, she came from very humble beginnings in the countryside, not very exposed. And she walked onto the stage in the city and walked away with the crown. So there is some beauty in, being small, being humble, but still being confident. So I wanted to share my formula with as many young women as I could, so that they would have, that sense of pride and accomplishment in themselves that can propel them into wherever they want to go, whether their career goals, life goals, whatever it is. Because I think with, the times we're living in, the doctor's offices are where people correct the emptiness they feel inside. They go to a doctor's office. And I told you that makes me sad in so many ways as a woman, because we're wonderfully and beautifully made. So that is why I got involved in training, because I think women need to become empowered. They need to understand, yes, you think I'm beautiful? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. It's a compliment. Women like feeling beautiful. We do. We like being admired. There's something about women, and I speak for myself and the many women I've spoken to, there's something that makes us, we're natural nurturers, we provide for the family, but there's something about we want to feel special. So I think when we don't feel good enough, it's the beginning of so many problems. So that's why I wanted to give back. I wanted to empower other women with what I learned.
That's amazing.
And that's really why I did it.
That's the best reason to do it, I think.
Yeah, I was telling Nicole, if I ever jump back on stage, I will call her.
Yes, you should. It's always good to have more help.
Some women have difficulty if they see another beautiful woman to say, "You're gorgeous." When I went in the studio, she interviewed Scott on the sit down, and I saw her there. I said, "Wow, I had no idea she was in Pageant." But I think that as women, we should be confident enough if we see another beautiful woman to say, "You're gorgeous. I think you're beautiful. I love your outfit. I love your hair." Oh, girl.
Yeah.
I think women get too caught up in, feeling less than. It's not necessary. We all can be empowered. We all can learn that the outside will fade. Get used to it. Learn it early. Learn early. We can't keep our our youth forever.
I can try.
So learn that what the essence of lasting beauty is, and I think one of the essential things is gratitude. Gratitude, waking up with being grateful. Things don't have to be perfect, but we know we're striving every day to be better than the day before. But gratitude centers us.
Mhm.
If every day we get up, oh, I look at my hair, I can't, and look at so those are the things that gratitude for sure is a major thing that whenever I feel a little bothered, I center myself and I begin to say, okay, I'm sure I can think about 5 things that I'm grateful for. And it just takes the load off, it takes the burden off. And sometimes we live in a world where people can be mean, especially in schools. There's a lot of bullying, and people can develop, a feeling of, insecurities because of what people say. And so we have to tune it out, and we have to tune out the negative talk from the negative people and surround ourselves with people who feed us good things, positive talk. Women have always been the foundation, the people raising the family traditionally. I'm not saying men don't as well, and there's not a special place for men, but women have been, and we've not really achieved equity even today. And we're special. We're like superhumans, juggling everything. The kids, staying beautiful, the job. So I don't see beauty pageants as just for the stage. And maybe there need to be more programs where these self-empowerment programs can be taught, so people don't go around, feeling less than, and they're not caught up with comparing themselves always with the aesthetics of the dictates of a particular race or not. There's so much beauty all around in everyone, in every race. It's just like, the flowers, they come in all colors, all shapes, all sizes, and they're all beautiful. I would be bored if all the flowers in the world were just one type, one color, one shape. We live in a boring world. So I think God was really generous to give people all the varying characteristics that we can admire.
For sure.
And embrace. And so, Regina, I don't think you're done. I don't think you're done.
We'll see.
I don't think so either.
We have to see what next for you. And yes, I'll be happy to be your chaperone and trainer. For sure.
There you go. Y'all heard it here first. So I do have one last question for you before we wrap things up, because this hour just flew by. I know you talked about how you left your pageant, your pageant persona, let's say, back in St. Vincent. And I know when you and I were talking, I had mentioned that, pageantry is evolving. There's pageant systems, the Mrs. Pageants, there's the Ms. Pageants. Would you ever consider coming back on stage? And if you were to, what would have been, or what is your dream title to have?
Regina!
The hard one. She loves asking this.
I love asking this question. You told me I'm not done, so I don't think you're done.
No, I can tell you, I have a lot of experience. I have a lot of know-how, but I have done my time. It's your time. It's the younger generation. And I'm happy to be part of. Certainly not on stage. Absolutely not. But I would love to be empowering, the next generation of pageant queens to understand how they can take that beauty, not to swell their heads, to say bragging rights, I'm this or I'm that, but to be able to grab the attention, to advocate for some of the real issues in this world, and that's the platform that we're provided when we get heightened profiles, whether you call it beauty pageants or whatever. But whenever we're given a mic, we're given an opportunity, a platform, I think that we should always consider advocacy, especially for the issues that are, I think for us as women, equity in pay is still an issue. Equity where women are doing the same job as men and not even being paid. I think that is still a big problem. That so I think being aware of what the issues are, I think things are much improved than how they were even pre-pandemic.
And someone's there.
Knocking. And I think that we have to stay aware of the social issues, the things that are happening that concerns women, because women are still in a fight for equity and all of that. So yeah, so that's what I want to be involved in. And
never say never. Never say never. I learned the hard way.
You really did.
So really quick, I'm going to read a couple more messages from our online viewers. So Janice McGregor, earlier, I guess we were talking, she said, some people don't understand that pageants give a voice to small town girls who otherwise would be overlooked. And in a day of my body, my choice, we should not be judged for competing in pageants. So Janice, for some content, does come from a small town, so she gets it. And one that I do want to read from Janice to you, she said, and I agree with her. She says, I absolutely adore you, Miss Nicole. The way you speak of your mother is the same way I view you.
Oh, thank you so much, Janice. You know what is important, and let me get it in here. I think it's good to have role models in your life. It's good to see people that you want to be like, but never ever forget the power of authenticity, not to be someone else, but to be true to who you are. So to be you. I think that's important. And yes, I thank my mom. She's instilled in all of us the importance of being real and being yourself. And the people who come around me, and gravitate towards me, it's the first thing they say. I just love you. You're always bubbly. You're always, if I'm having a bad day, I know in a few seconds, you're able to get me out of that. And so I think that authenticity is really, really powerful. And it's good. It's very beautiful to be yourself. Don't be anybody else. Be yourself. So I've always held on to my broken finger. And it did not make me feel less of a person. And I'm saying that because girls are struggling with image issues and all the various things to try to feel accepted and to feel that they belong and that they're beautiful. And I'm here to tell you that the real beauty tricks, it's not that we don't have imperfections, it's that you accentuate the positive. And then you learn to hide the little negatives. I've learned to hide that little broken thing.
I didn't even notice when I met you.
So I think that's important, yes.
Amazing. Great tips all around. And speaking of, so Lady Modem, yes, says, These words of wisdom apply to all aspects of life. I am enjoying this so much. Hard. And Margaret is in the chat, and she says, wonderful interview. Heart, heart, heart.
Thank you, Regina. I was so nervous because it's not my time now, it's my daughter's time. That's why I came to the studio. But you pulled me here online. And I didn't know what to feel. I was kind of terrified. At this age, we kind of hang up the crown and the heels and we embrace other things. I've embraced motherhood and I'm so enjoying it. And now I am happy to be my daughter's chaperone as she navigates, her dreams to get her albums out and to make it in the world of singing and in the world of law. So and my other son as well, he wants to animate, and I'm their biggest cheerleader. So I have hung up my pageant heels and my pageant crown years and years ago. But thank you for pulling me back on to your platform. And the one thing I will say, I'm happy to participate, and not on the stage, behind the stage. I'm happy to get the girls together and to empower the next generation, because I'm telling you, there's a lot of power in when you are empowered as a young woman.
100%.
It helps not just you as a person, it helps the entire community, because women are always nurturing their families, those around them. That's just who we are. So empowering women is strengthening communities everywhere.
Yes, for sure.
So yeah. So it's good also to talk about some of the pitfalls, because we can plan and prepare and how to deal and how to avert them. So we also have to grow with the times. And it was good to see that the Miss World pageant did away with the swimsuit category. Mm-hmm. So things are evolving, as you said, and we are not just to be, gawked at as or sexualized. We're more than that. We're more than that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, first off, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you have hung up your heels for now, and you hid this side of your life. And I know Margaret had mentioned it on the sit down where she turned the switch off on singing. And I'm hoping that, just like Margaret, you turn your switch back on to the pageant world. Not necessarily saying to compete, but I mean, you never know. So let's never turn that switch off, because it looks like you do have a lot of love and support from the chats and the viewers. And yeah, thank you again so much for taking the time and sharing your story. I know there's a lot more in there that we were not able to get to today, but I'm excited. I loved getting to meet you, and I'm sure this is not our last time interacting.
Mm-hmm. You know what I thought about Regina? I think there used to be a big Miss Caribana show where people came to Canada from all around the world to compete here. I think maybe you and I need to talk.
Yes.
Well then, here we go.
Maybe that might be something I'm interested in helping you with.
One thing you need to be aware of, Nicole, by the way, is we do a lot of manifestation on this show.
And a lot of things come true.
I should have warned you before you said anything. So Janice can attest to this, and all of our viewers, that when a guest comes on and says something, it happens. So be careful.
Oh gosh, it's an absolute pleasure Thank you for pulling me back into the pageant ring, at least to chat. It was an honor, absolute honor.
It was so interesting. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. It was really fun. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And I'm not sure how public you are with social media, but if our viewers wanted to reach out, had questions, were interested in coaching, where can people find you, or how can they contact you?
Oh, I have Margaret do my social media. I have not absolutely, and I'm embarrassed to say it, but I hear her laughing upstairs. But yes, you can put a link to my Facebook and my email and stuff. So you're welcome to put a link, Regina. I'm more than appreciate that. But I'm a little bit of a dinosaur with the new technology.
No,
I'm a to learn. So
you're here. Yeah.
I'm on Facebook, not so much on Instagram, but I'm gonna be now. I promise.
All right, you all heard it here first. So I will put the links down below after today's show. Liz, where can people find you, and do you have anything you'd like to share with us?
So you guys can find me for all my pageant stuff at Elizabeth Marnock Pageantry on Instagram. If you're interested in my hair and makeup stuff in terms of me traveling around doing hair and makeup for pageants, you can find me at Elizabeth Marnock Artistry on Instagram. What Regina's referring to very casually here is found on my pageant page. I started a new pageant called Canadian National Miss, where we're having a Black Friday sale this Friday. People who know me know that I love a good Black Friday sale, so of course I couldn't miss out on this opportunity. So definitely check in on Friday at midnight to see what's happening and how you can get involved. Regine, where can they find you?
You guys can find me here on my YouTube channel, where you are currently watching the Pageant Sit Down. If you are enjoying this episode, feel free to give this video a thumbs up. If you want to learn more about pageantry and learn more about our guests, feel free to subscribe to this channel. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at It's Regina Lena. I do want to, oh my gosh, sorry, did not mean to put it to the end screen. I do want to read some more comments, because as I say, we're closing, all the floods are coming through. The floodgates have opened. I think that's what the saying is. So I'm just going to read some out before we wrap things up. Scott Dion Brown says, great episode. Frederick's Attorneys and Notary Public says, so proud of the legacy of my mother Daphne and my sister Nicole, women of strength and beauty. So I'm guessing it's one of your siblings.
A sister, and she is a powerhouse attorney in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Wow.
And yeah, my mom, shepherded us into, what we're doing today. I have a brother who as well is doing really very well in St. Vincent in construction, my brother Brian, and I have another brother in the US who just got voted as the chief of the hospital there. He's a doctor.
Wow.
And we're celebrating. It's always been a tightly knit family. We've been all for one and one for all type of family. And yeah, that's my little mom from a quiet little village. And it's the same that we're doing for our children. We're teaching them how to love yourself and go contribute to the world. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, thank you again, Nicole, for opening your heart and sharing your stories with all of us. And to all of you who are viewing, thank you so much for taking the time this afternoon or this morning, wherever in the world you're watching this, whatever day you're watching this. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, like I mentioned. Check out Liz's Pageant. I will be checking out her discount. To everyone as well, thank you for joining. Nicole, it's been a pleasure getting to know your story, and this is why I love the Pageant Sit Down, is getting guests on like yourself who have so much to share with us. And I can't wait to see where this journey takes you. And to she's like, shut up. But I cannot, I seriously,
No.
you say I'm not done, I don't think you're done after
Oh my
today's
gosh.
episode. Just saying.
I ain't done.
I'm just saying. But everyone, thank you again so much for tuning in. We will see you all in 2 weeks. Bye.
Bye.